Can we call a new number?
Yep.
439183. 439183. 439183.
Oh, you can hold it? Okay. All right. So, a little background. All right. I've had my own software company for 40 years. Okay. I've had my own software company for 40 years. Okay. In that time, I've written software for the poultry industry, and I've seen...
I'm sorry, for which industry?
The poultry industry.
Poultry? Okay.
And I've seen the FDA inspectors and the Department of Agriculture work keeping our food safe. Okay? The budget cuts that we're doing right now is taking that away. What I do now, since my retirement, is I drive an ambulance. And my whole business in life right now is saving lives. What this administration is doing is going to hurt people or kill people. So my question is, you talk about pushing it back against all these cuts that you're doing to the NIH, to the FDA, to, okay, whatever. So my point is, if you don't get anything done, then maybe you should say you failed and you should leave. What do you think? My question is, what are you going to do to make sure that you're successful?
Well, again, when you are in elected office, okay, you're, in the case of Congress, one of 435, right? In the case of a county legislator, one of 17. In the case of a town board, one of 5. You have a responsibility to build consensus, which means you actually have to engage in conversation with people, even if you disagree strongly with them. And oftentimes, and I will tell you, this is a mistake that my Democratic colleagues are making right now. It's not just enough to resist or say you hate the person in power or you hate the administration. You actually have to go engage in conversation. And I could stand on the street and yell and scream and hold signs and do that. But that in and of itself is not actually going to find compromise when you're dealing with these situations. And so what I have done and what I continue to do is engage directly with the president, with his cabinet secretaries, with the administration, with the staff on a daily basis. And sometimes we're successful in getting them to reverse, and other times we're not. And that is just a reality of government, okay? And so when you're talking about a budget as big as we have, $7 trillion, and we're blocking off roughly 87% of the federal spend. We're saying we're not going to touch this. So you're talking about arguing and fighting over 13% of the federal spend. Okay? And so that is where, when you're running $2 trillion deficits and you're unwilling to touch all of these other programs, which are vital. But if you're not...
Okay, please, stop.
Folks, taxing the rich is not going to close our budget deficit. I hope you realize that. It really will not. It really will not. Let me ask you a question. What rate would you propose? What rate? What rate? What rate? What rate? What rate? Okay. The fact is, you are not going to be able to close this budget deficit, okay, just through the issue of taxes. The fact is, we are spending at astronomical levels. As I said before, both parties are responsible for adding $30 trillion in debt in the last 2 decades. 30 trillion in debt in 2 decades. When I was in high school, we were in single-digit trillions. So the fact is, you cannot just solve this through taxes. You have to get spending under control. And that's just a reality, whether people like it or not. It's just basic math.
Okay, folks, we're here to hear the congressman. We're here to the congressman.